I want my dad.
I'm gonna go get him. Now sit back. Come on. I will fix it. I will fix it.
Dear, wait, just stop for a second and take a deep breath. Hey, just stop.
Please. I will get your dad.
No, you said that you were gonna pepper spray me. No, please, no, stop.
Sit back.
Oh, I got a bad arm.
Just spray her.
No, I have
Just spray her at this point.
Stop. Stop.
Dear.
Stop.
I got her. I got her.
Please wipe my eye. Wipe my eye, please.
Unbelievable.
Thank you so very much for joining in with me during this article reading and how I feel about the issue that is going on currently with our law officers and our children. This is from Tim Stilo. This is from NBC News. 3 officers suspended after police pepper spray 9-year-old girl in Rochester, New York. 1 police officer was suspended and 2 were placed on administrative leave in Rochester, New York, 2 days after the release of a video showing authorities pepper spraying a 9-year-old girl while responding to a report of family trouble, officials said. In a statement released early into Tuesday, a spokesman of Mayor Lovely Warren said the Rochester Police Department immediately removed the 3 involved officers from patrol duties. The suspension was ordered after Warren met with the police chief, Cynthia Horton Sullivan. The internal investigation is ongoing, and the spokesman did not respond to a request for additional details. The suspicions will remain in place until an internal probe is completed. Videos of protests showed hundreds of people marching on Rochester's snowy streets, chanting Black Lives Matter and gathering outside the city's police station on Monday night as state officials, including Governor Andrew Cuomo, condemned the officers' actions. This isn't how the police should treat anyone, let alone a 9-year-old girl, Cuomo said in a statement. What happened in Rochester on Friday is deeply disturbing and wholly unacceptable, Attorney General Leetta James said in a statement. Such use of force and pepper spray should never be deployed against a child, period. My office is looking into what transpired and how child was ever subjected to such danger. During a news conference Sunday, Warren told reports that the January 29th incident was not something that any of us should want to justify. She added that she saw her own child's face in the face of the 9-year-old. Officers were called on Friday afternoon after a report that the girl was threatening to harm herself and her mother. Andre Anderson, deputy chief of the Rochester Police, told reporters Sunday. When the officers tried to move the girl into the police car to take her to the hospital, she resisted, kicking one of the officers, Anderson said. Body camera video released by the police department Sunday showed authorities handcuffing the girl while she was repeatedly screams for her father and refuses to get into the vehicle. You're acting like a child, one of the officers said at one point. I am a child, she can be heard responding. In the video, officers can be heard saying that they will pepper spray her if she continued to resist. When an officer did, Anderson said, the effects of that did work. It isn't clear what happened before or after the video, which was edited by police. Though Anderson said the girl was eventually taken to Rochester's General Hospital and released. The officers in the video have not been identified, and additional details about the incident weren't immediately available. A message left with the Rochester Police Department requesting an incident report wasn't returned Sunday night. The city's police union also did not immediately respond to a request for comment, but comments cited by the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle Union President Mike Morezzo said the officer made a decision to subdue the girl and acted in a way that didn't injure her. I am not saying that there are better ways to do things, Mezzo told the newspaper, but let's be realistic about what we're facing. It's not TV. It's not Hollywood. We don't have a simple situation where we can put out our hands and have somebody instantly handcuffed and comply. The confrontation comes less than a year after Daniel Perdue, 41, died while being restrained by Rochester police with a spit hood over his head. The police department chief and entire command staff resigned after Perdue's death. The city enacted law enforcement reforms, including moving crisis interventions from the purview of police. The city launched a person in crisis response team earlier this month, according to NBC affiliate WHEC, but it did not respond to Friday's confrontation because the initial 911 call didn't warrant it, Warren said. There were a number of events happening at once at this location, all of which required a police response, she said. She added that the city aims to provide a joint response between police and the city's The joint response between police and the crisis team to improve how we protect our community. Unfortunately, we got a whole lot of problems that are going on with the system. We have police officers that do not see our children, our black children, as children. They see these black beings as adults. They treat us as if we are adults. Coming out of the womb, they treat us as if we are adults. We don't get to be children for these people. We don't get to be innocent for these people. And that is a problem. I'm very sure that if that child was a white child, that whole thing would not have went down that way. I know it. This is something that we have to become unaccustomed to. We cannot let this be something that's normal, even though it has been going on for centuries. This is something that has to stop, has to end now. This issue is, again, a multi-layer issue. The way the cops responded was drastic. The Mezzo fellow said that this isn't a movie, it isn't a television show. But when we do finally get this stuff put on camera, it does seem as if they are acting for something, or as if their methods are so rehearsed. It's becoming a problem to where they think that this kind of behavior towards anyone, including a child, is okay, just as long as they get their point across, just as long as you comply. And then at times we know that no matter how much you comply, you still are an issue. You still have an issue. You still have a target on your back. And these people don't want to understand that. And I do honestly believe that most of them do understand that. They just don't want to let you know that they understand that. But that's coming to an end now. We're at a point in this country and globally, to be quite frank, that this is going to be something that you're going to have to come to grips with, that us as a people do not need to be policed by these people. These people are not worthy. We are not accused. We are not guilty of what they're saying that we are guilty of. They call us violent. That's why their response was so wicked and so mean to a 9-year-old because you're wasting their time. That's how they felt. They was ready to move on to the next problem. You're talking too much. You're whining too much. We don't care if you cry that you want your daddy. We want you to shut up and get your ass in this car. We don't care if you're scared. We don't care if you were 9 years old and you just said that you wanted to take your life. And that's another problem. That child sounds like she just wanted somebody to really sit down and talk to her. I don't know what kind of household that was going on. I don't know what kind of issues that they were having. At the end of the day, it sounds like she just needed somebody to talk to. She didn't get that. She got the police called on her. She didn't get sympathy. She didn't get empathy. She didn't get care. She didn't get that. She got handcuffed and pepper sprayed. Michelle was calling out for somebody. It landed on deaf ears. Not only in her home, not only from those police officers, but from society itself. And it took a video camera, took video footage for us to really see that. And some of us still don't get it. Some of us like to make excuses. And that is yet another problem. We like to make excuses for evil things and evil actions because we've been told from birth and before birth. It's been implanted in your DNA that certain things need to go a certain way. And we all need to now understand that that is no longer the truth. I sit here and I think about my 2 children. I have a boy and a girl. My girl's usually in the house. She don't really go nowhere. She don't really do too much. She draws and listens to music and writes. So I really don't have to worry about her too much. But my boy, he's an outgoing boy. He's a smart boy, but he's also a black boy. And I know every day when I pass police cars and I see them with their straight robotic faces behind those big glasses that they always have on, I wonder, are they looking for the next problem to deal with? And all that problem has to be is black. Because that seems to be the only thing that really gets people upset and rowdy and ready to fight. But we didn't even do that at our own capital. And why was that? Because the people there were white. Now they can get off and get light sentences. Those people at the Capitol didn't even get pepper sprayed like that. They didn't even get treated like she did. And as many cops showed up at that time for that issue, and y'all couldn't show up like that to the Capitol, like, it's silly. It makes your whole system look silly. Because once these people understand that they can get by just because of the color of their skin, and yes, you can say that it doesn't exist, but I can tell you bullshit. This is something that is serious. These are our children out here that are being targeted. And we should be angry. We should be upset about this. Every time that video should pop up, it shouldn't be a dry eye in the house. Don't ever become sensitized to what's going on. You ask for it to be shown. Our cameras and our phones have shown that it's done its job. Now what we gonna do about it? It's in your face now. It's on your social media. It's on your television screen. It's in your face. These people can no longer police us because they do not know how to police themselves. That is the first issue. They do not know how to police themselves, and they do not want to police themselves. They want to police us. They feel that it is their God-given right to police us. They think that this is their very reason of being here, is to police us, is to control us, is to tell us what to do all day, every day, while they sit here and do whatever they want. These people can have a rap sheet as long as my arm, and they can still get off with light sentences. They still get tapped on the wrist. No matter how dangerous this person is, just as long as they're white, they can get away with anything. Until you come for the powers that be. Until you decide, excuse me, not us. I'm sorry, it's not us. Until they decide that they have another target as well. The stuff is coming from more than one side. Everybody got somebody else and somebody else looking to get their ass. And we cannot have our children to be manhandled and misguided and touched and harassed like this. This is ridiculous. But at the same time, what can you expect from people like this? What can you expect from people that already have you lined up? If not for a jail cell or a body bag or a high-ass bill to pay. These people want to control every aspect of your life, and they're expecting you not to get upset about it. They're expecting you not to raise up and want change and ask questions. They're expecting you to shut up and go with the status quo. But now they can't keep that up. They can't keep it up to save their lives. The system is ending and it's going down. It's going down fast. With more than one thing hitting this whole thing up, and I'm talking globally, not just here in America, globally. This whole thing is being hit up all at the same time. Nothing's being controlled. The current holders and the oppressors of the earth, they got a problem. You might hear a conspiracy theory here or just go do this and go buy that and it'll be okay. And if you just get this vaccine, you're going to be all right. No, it's not going to work this time. We've been lulled to sleep for so long. We've been told to look the other way for so long. We've been told to look the other way and close your eyes or listen to this beat or look at this picture or like this person or do what this person does, says. Maybe if this was like this, then that wouldn't be giving you that shuffle. While something going on to the right, they point to the left, telling you to look to the left, look to the left. While they fucking you over on the right, yeah, that shuffle. You sitting over here arguing with your grandparents and your older family members and your younger family members about right or left, Democrat or Republican. You still not woke yet. You still ain't got it. If this is what stops you from doing anything, is whether something's Republican or Democrat, honey, you still sleep. If you don't understand that this is about white supremacy, it doesn't matter whether it's the left side or the right side. It's all the same thing. It's all white supremacy. It's from the same body. That is a system that we need to get rid of. We've been rocked to sleep so much for so long that it is okay for these cops feel it is okay for them to mace a nine-year-old girl that's calling out for her daddy. 9 years on this earth, and they're expecting her to respond to this issue like an adult. She's 9. But that didn't matter. No one in those uniforms cared. No one stopped and asked her, "Are you okay? Let's go find your dad. Let's go talk to your dad." Oh, there's 8 police officers here just standing around looking intimidating with their guns and their big blue blocker glasses on. Half of you can go away. Maybe she doesn't have to go to the hospital. Maybe she needs to talk to her dad. Maybe she just needs to calm down, assess what's going on. You don't have to sit in the car, honey. Who's thinking about putting handcuffs on you, darling? No one's thinking about putting handcuffs on you, let alone macing you. Let's sit down. Let's breathe. Let's go get your daddy. Let's go figure out what's going on. Let's hear what you have to say. But none of that happened. None of it. No one took the time. No one took the common sense of which we all claim that you have. That is one of the reasons why you all have your complexes that you do. It is because you're supposed to be smarter than everybody else, right? That's what you wrote in your history books and your little science books written by other white people, telling the brown people and the black people how dumb they are. and how superior and better you are on all levels. But you couldn't figure out this, huh? You all weren't smart enough to get that. This was a 9-year-old child. You weren't smart enough to understand that. Out of all, 6 to 8 officers out there, no one could think to calm down. Let her breathe. Let her assess. Let everybody assess. Let the whole moment calm down before we decide to make our next move. No, because we were in a rush. We had other things to do. We had breaks we needed to get on to. We had other more important matters. I'm not sure how the whole issue went down to even have the cops called. But there was a moment where I read that she was going to be suicidal. She was talking about hurting herself. And no one really stops to think. You just said that out loud. If that was really going to happen at that moment in time, she wouldn't have mentioned a thing. She wouldn't have said anything. What that was a cry for help. And I'm pretty sure that the mom thought that if she did call the police, that they were going to help her. And they were going to help her get through this. But unfortunately, we're still putting our faith and trust in people that do not love us, do not care for us, do not want the best for us. We're still under that illusion that these people are here for our protection. You're not understanding that they feel that we are the problem. We are the dark shadows. We are the criminals. And this goes all the way back to how people view their religious standings and their standings as people. We have to understand this, and we have to get this cleared up as soon as possible. Because if we do not understand this and get this clear, we are going to be in a lot more trouble. There are stories out here to prove that these people do not care for our lives, no matter what age. And that should leave them null and void from being police of us. This shouldn't have happened. This shouldn't have happened. This could have went better in so many ways. This could have turned out so differently. But you got a whole group of people that swear they know everything, and they know everything about everyone. As soon as they see you, they already got your bias. Their bias is set up about how you are, who you are, and what the issue is about. And it's something that has to change. Our next issue is about, we're going to need some other peoples out there other than law enforcement. Law enforcement, to me, should only be about hard crimes. murders, rapes. I guess like really like bank robberies and stuff like that. Things like that. But as far as mental issues, as far as domestic issues, depending on what's going on in that domestic issue, because if somebody got a gun or a weapon or something like that, like I said, that's a violent issue. So yes, absolutely. But if this is something that can be talked about and regulated without serious police intervention, there'll be a whole lot of things that can be done. Now, this is something that can create jobs, but unfortunately, the system is not built on that. So we cannot rely on that. And if we do rely on that, and if it does happen to come up, it'll be short-lived. Monies will be moved around. You'll still have the biases that's going on. You still have a whole lot of issues. Unfortunately, these people do not need or meet the requirement to have the privilege to police us or anyone else, because they do not do that to themselves. That little girl needed an ear that day. She needed somebody to talk to. She needed some reassurance that everything was going to be okay. She didn't get that. She got none of that. We need to understand that when we do argue with each other, and I can definitely attest to arguing in front of my children, and it doesn't most of the time end well. Both of you are exhausted. Your throats hurt because you're screaming. Things are a little bit dizzying. And your children really aren't on your mind at that time, most likely, because you're so angry about what's going on between you two. Unless it is about the children, then that's a whole, then that's when that comes in. But it's still about you being angry at the other person. And most of the time, we like to do things out of spite against each other. And we got to make sure that we keep our children out of the middle of it. They are not pawns. These are people. It didn't take just one person to make those people. It's been about 30 minutes. I hate to even imagine that this will happen again, but unfortunately, I know better. I know that it will happen again. No matter how many times it's replayed, played again. No matter if they do one story or 100 more stories on it, it's going to happen again. And this is something that is going to soon change. But there's a lot more road we need to go on and we need to cover to really get there. And there's a whole lot more truths out there that needs to be said, and by a lot of people. And they need to say it. Because one might not believe one, or they might believe another. And that's okay. This is the crone talking to you. I wish you a good night and a good morning. Wonderful afternoon. We see you. Do you see you?